Hello. This recording, we will be reviewing company information, specifically the finance and insurance section. So what we'll do is we'll go through all the settings, and we'll explain what those settings do and how they impact the system. Again, with company information, you want to make sure only those who have a pretty deep understanding of the system and how the different modules integrate have access to it. So that should be your system administrators and those level of users. From our main menu here, we'll click on company information, and then we'll go to the finance and insurance section, and have two different areas here. So starting on the left, that first option there that says use dealer administration fees as profit. Basically, when that is enabled or checked in your deals, if you have a doc fee, then that fee, when you look at the profitability of that deal, will be included. When it's unchecked, that amount, even if it's charged on the deal, will be excluded from the profit. Next, we have pay commission on dealer administration fees. So again, going back to that doc fee, if that box is selected or checked, then when you go to calculate commissions, that amount will be included in the commissionable amount of that deal, or commissionable gross. When it is not checked, it will not be included in the commissionable gross, meaning your salespeople don't get commission on the doc fee, which is probably more common than having it selected. Next, set pending in inventory to no on washout. So essentially what that means is when you have a trade-in and you go to wash that deal out, and the deal washout is basically performed when a deal goes from any open status to any done status. And during the washout, it's going to attach the vehicle that you're selling to the customer, mark it as sold, and so forth. But basically, with that setting turned on, if you have a trade on that deal and you wash that deal out, it will deselect that trade-in as a pending trade, right? Because at that point, it's an available unit, or should be an available unit for you to sell. So the pending trade option on that unit, which is here, will be deselected once the deal is washed out. Right. Send destination charge to deal. So in the inventory system, on the financial page, there is a destination charge field. So if you populate that with a value, indicating that you're going to charge a destination charge to deliver the vehicle or the unit to the customer, that amount will then be transferred to your deal as a delivery fee, if you have a delivery fee set up. All right, so if you don't have that set up and you want that transfer to automatically happen, you can reach out to our forms department to get that fee added for you. Remove accessories from commission. So essentially what that means is when you add accessories to a deal, if your sales staff are not paid on those accessories or the profit on those accessories, then you want to check off that option. If they are paid on the profit on the accessories, then you want to make sure that option is checked. Next option here is hide ACV on the comparisons tab. So within the deal, you have the option of comparing different quotes for the buyer. And on that screen, you have the option of displaying or hiding the ACV. In most cases, you'd probably want to hide the ACV here, in which case you would check that option off in company information. Then you have allow negative commissions. So if that is checked on a deal, when there's a loss on a deal and you plug in the commission percentage, it'll calculate out the negative commissions for you, or you can enter them as a flat rate. Right, use sales costs for finance deals. So this one kind of ties into the one right below it, which is use actual add-ons repairs on sales cost tab. So basically, the way I differentiate this, or the way we differentiate this in Motility, is if you're not using our accounting package and you're just using the sales cost, which means you're manually manipulating the cost on vehicles, then you want to use the option to use sales costs on your deals. So when it's calculating profit on the deals, it's using that manually manipulated cost. And usually you only want that if you're not using our accounting package. If you are using our accounting package and your accounting system is maintaining the cost of the vehicle, so when you do work orders and make purchases or you do write downs or anything like that, the accounting system is automatically updating the deal. Then you want to use the actual add-ons and repairs on the sales cost tab, which is more common. Don't fill in repair calls when starting an invoice from finance. So essentially what that means is when you add accessories to the deal and you go ahead and you start a service RO, which is located at the bottom of the accessories tab on the deal. All right, there's certain information about that deal that transfers over to the RO. So it's going to transfer over to the notes page of the RO, which I'll show you in just a second. So if you go to the service page and we click on the unit, you'll see this first one is the RO that we just created. All right, so in the complaint tab, it populates that info, and you'll see the info it populates in the notes tab. So it gives you the deal number, what amount was quoted, what amount is estimated. If you scroll down a little bit there, it gives you the employees on the deal, so it shows you who the finance manager is, who the salesperson is, etc., and the delivery date, because that's important for the service department, right, to know when they have to get that work ready. If that option in company info is, selected, as it is here in our demo system, then it only populates those details on the notes tab. All right, when that option is unselected, then it'll also populate that information in the complaint box. And typically what happens is the service department, when they see it, they'll take all of that stuff out and they'll put the actual complaint there. So I prefer to have that option checked so it doesn't populate it on the complaint page. It just populates it in the notes. And then the service advisors can write their complaints, causes, and corrections as they need to. Next option here says start deals / quotes with the MSRP. So when that is selected and you're beginning a quote or deal, it's going to use the MSRP amount versus the actual selling price. Pretty self-explanatory. And then we have sell parts on a deal from inventory. So when that's selected, and this is mainly for power sports and marine dealers, more often than not, where they're selling accessories like life vests and helmets and things of that nature. So basically what that allows you to do is when you go to the accessories page of the deal and you go down to the parts section here, all right, that becomes an actual inventory search. It's not just an open text box like it normally is. It allows you to actually look up inventory and find the actual part numbers that you want to sell. All right, so there are some settings that go along with that. For example, in parts and service, when you open up a part, right, the part itself has to be marked as sell and finance, which is in the bottom right here, this little checkbox. Right. So that option has to be checked, and then you also have to have permissions to sell parts in the deal. So in security, you go into finance permissions. Right. You have to have this option checked, allowed to sell parts on deals from inventory. So if you got that option checked and you got your parts listed that you want to be able to sell in deals, and you have that company information setting enabled, then it allows you to actually look up inventory from the deal, add the part to the deal. When you start the service order, it'll automatically plug that part on the service ticket, and basically that side of it is relieving the part from inventory. So it ties it all together. Use advanced rebates grid. So what that enables for you is on the deal, on the quote tab, and then if you go to rebates and spiffs, which is a sub tab within the quote page, at the bottom of that page, it allows you to customize the amount of your rebate or spiff. So you get to choose whether it's rebate or spiff. Let's say we get $1,000 rebate. So let's say rebate here. You get to specify the GL revenue account and the AR account because it's going to make a two-sided entry. All right. A credit to revenue and a debit to AR, and then you can select the entity, which would be your manufacturer in most cases. The stock number is your control, or you can use the deal number as your control, and that'll default based on the company info selection you make here, where it says default rebate entity reference. You get to choose whether you want the stock number to be the control or the deal number. And then on the accounting section of company info, if you go to GL defaults, over in the bottom right, that's where you can default your rebate revenue account and your rebate AR account. So all that stuff is preset in company info for you. And if you want that setting turned on, you just check it, and then it gives you this additional view on your deals to input your rebates, and it'll create the journal entries for those when you post your deal to accounting. Okay. Jumping over to the right side of the finance and insurance section, you got charge GST on warranty, charge GST on the bank service fee, and then charge GST on the bank registration fee. And the GST is the goods and services tax, which applies in Canada, north of the border. So if that tax is going to apply to any of these things, if you're a Canadian dealer, then you'll want to make sure those options are checked. And the percentage for that tax is set back on the general page here. Track GM incentives. If you are a GM dealership and you want to be able to track incentives that you receive when you sell your vehicles, then you can turn that option on. Force trade stock number, just that, pretty self-explanatory. Allows you to go to the trades page and it'll automatically force a stock number there for you. You have the option of either using the stock number of the vehicle that you're selling with an appended A or B, depending on what the stock number is, or you have the option of using auto stock numbering, which is enabled here. All right. Right. Pop rotation screen when finance creates a service invoice. So what that basically does is when you do start service RO from the accessories page in the deal, if you want a screen to pop that allows you to choose the advisor, basically the next advisor available, then you can turn on that rotation screen. In order to do that, you have to have a rotation configured in the CRM. So if you toggle to the CRM module, and you go to edit, and then you go down to lead rotations, right? You want to set up a new rotation, and you can call this your service rotation. And then you can add the advisor that you want in that rotation. So I can pick out multiple people here, and then save and close. And then if I turn that setting on, pop rotation screen, we'll save it. We'll relaunch our F&I system, go to a deal. And we'll add an accessory here. We'll do start service RO. All right, and then the rotation screen pops. Now I can choose the rotation that I want to pick from, and then it shows who the next available advisor is. So then I can select that advisor, and it'll automatically assign that work order. In this case, 124245. It'll go ahead and assign that invoice to that advisor. All right, next set are dates that you want to use. So the first one there is the date to send to accounting and sold. All right, so you have three options here: the delivery date, the purchase date, or the contract signing date. Those three dates are located in the upper right-hand corner of your deal. So whichever one of those dates you want to control the accounting on that deal when you actually post it to accounting, you'll want to set that accordingly here. All right. Most common options for that setting are going to be signing date or delivery date. All right, status for invoices started from finance. So when you're starting a service RO from the accessories page, you can default the status that you want those ROs to start in. Most commonly, that status is going to be prep for delivery. All right, but you can choose another option there if you so choose to. In-service date, so that's the date that the warranty begins on the unit. So that's in the inventory system. In the upper right-hand corner, there's an in-service date. All right, previous to that setting, that date would always be the day the unit was sold. But now you have the option in company info to either use the day it was sold, the delivery date, the purchase date, the signing date, or you can opt to have it not set a date at all, and then you can manually set the in-service date. Set purchase when status is set to. So basically what that does is when the unit hits a certain status and you get to specify that status is when the system is going to populate the purchase date on the deal. Right, so in the upper right hand corner, that purchase date will be set to the current day and time that the status changes to the status that's specified in company info. Consignment, create payables on posting, yes or no. So when that's checked, obviously that's yes. So if you want, when you're selling a consignment unit, for the system to automatically create the payable entry to show that you need to pay off the consignor, you can turn on that option. And basically, before you do that, you want to make sure the vehicle that you're selling is one, marked as a consignment vehicle in inventory. And then two, you want to make sure the consignment details, excuse me, are filled in. Right, so the consignment account and the consignor entity number needs to be populated. And then there's actually a consignment tab that also needs to be filled in with the necessary consignment information. So it knows which entity and what account to create that consignment, payable to. Entity reference when creating a consignment payable. So again, if you are using this option to have the system automatically create a consignment payable for you, you get to choose what control number you want to use in that entry, and you can either use the deal number or the stock number. All right, and then the last thing there, mark accessories as removed from the unit on the cancellation of an RO. So when that's enabled, if you've already started an RO for certain accessories, all right, and you later void that RO, then it'll go ahead and mark those accessories as canceled on the deal. And so that will conclude our webinar. Again, this is reviewing company information, specifically finance and insurance. In a previous webinar, we reviewed the general information, and in future webinars, we will review the other sections of company information. Thank you. Have a great day.